House of Representatives moves to raise academic qualification of candidates into elective public offices. President Buhari says Nigeria's survival rests on the active participation of citizens in global developmental efforts. Nigerian Union of Teachers holds national prayer, calls on federal government to assent to the new retirement age for teachers. And on the foreign scene, United States troops arrived Romania amid fears of a Russian invasion in Ukraine. Good evening and welcome to News Round on Impact Africa Television, IATV. I am Toluwaleke Ali. The Senate has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to dismiss a suit filed by the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, seeking to stop his probe over alleged misconduct. Umar was alleged to have publicly assaulted one Sagwak, a security guard in Abuja, following a disagreement that ensued between them over a parking lot on the premises. He had gone to court to challenge the powers of the Senate to investigate him in an alleged assault against a security guard. At a resumed sitting on the case, counsel for the Senate, Kafayat Suleiman, argued that the Senate derived its powers to investigate the alleged misconduct of Umar, a public office holder. According to her, Umar abused the powers of his office and his position according to a petition against him, and it is the responsibility of the Senate to investigate the authenticity of the claim. Suleiman also asked the court to dismiss the suit and uphold the argument of our client. The Senate has amended the bill seeking to establish the Federal Polytechnic Oregon in Delta State. The amendment was made sequel to a motion for recommittal to the Committee of the Whole. Moving the motion at plenary today, the Senate leader, Yahya Abdullahi, said some fundamental issues which require fresh legislative action by both chambers of the National Assembly have emerged. Abdullahi, who said President Buhari had approved the establishment of the Federal Polytechnic, noted that the institution is in the process commencing academic activities. In the meantime, the Senate has forwarded President Buhari's request for the confirmation of Emily Chidima as Executive Director of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation to the Committee on Banking and Other Financial Institutions. Also referred was the President's request for the confirmation of the appointment of the Executive Directors of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to the Committee on Petroleum. The nominees are expected to appear before the relevant committees for screening. The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill seeking to raise the academic qualification for the seat of President, Governor and other elective public offices to university degree or its equivalent. Moving the motion today at plenary, the lawmaker representing Remo North Federal Constituency in Ogun State, Adewumi Ononuga, called for the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. Ononuga called on the House to raise the qualification from school certificate to degree or its equivalent. Ononuga said if the bill becomes law, it will place more value on education in the country and its importance when considering politics. He added that the bill will also help politicians to sufficiently prepare for the task of political leadership. According to him, studying up to a university degree anywhere in the world will have afforded any individual certain other knowledge, skills, and preparedness that cannot be gotten at a school certificate level. As the atmosphere continues to heat up for the 2023 general elections, Nigerians have expressed diverse views to the age limit of candidates vying for elective positions across the country. In a chat with IATV's Taiwo Olanrewaju, they called for the review of existing laws which pegs the minimum educational qualification for aspirants for the presidency and other elective positions at senior school certificates. The report.
As the atmosphere continues to wind up for the 2023 general elections, Nigerians have expressed diverse opinions to the age limit of candidates vying for elective positions across the country, especially the presidency and governorship positions. Some also called for reviewing of existing law which pegs the minimum educational qualification for aspirants to the presidency and other elective positions at senior secondary school certificates. In a chat with Impa News Crew, a public affairs analyst, Remi Oladoye, said age is a factor to consider when aspiring for a political post in Nigeria. He added that anybody that wants to lead the country must at least attain 25 years of age.
Anybody that wants to aspire to lead should start at least should be of 25 years of age. At least with 25, that such person must have acquired certain level of education or certain occupation and must have garnered some experience. But for now, I think the younger people in this country have not really proved what they should do. So we need people with experience, people that can really lead us.
Oladoye, who said the country needs more than secondary school qualification, advocated for a first degree for presidency.
We need somebody with the minimum of first degree. Because you can't tell me an SSC may have that leadership trait, may have quality attribute, but education is very, very important. Ability to communicate effectively is also important.
However, in his opinion, Emmanuel Shobowale said age is not synonymous to good leadership. Shobowale further called for the review of the minimum qualification for anybody vying for a political post.
Age is not a problem. For example, if you set the age at 21-year-old, age is not a number. And then looking at the fact that Nigeria is in this current situation, we know that being old is not synonymous to good leadership. So then, if you have to place the age limit to 21, for example, you know that for a fact that a 21-year-old would have actually, would have done the councillor, would have had experience of being local government chairman, would have gone to the House of Assembly, and then you can build a political career and then become the president before he's even 40. So that is fair enough to actually have. I think 35 is too much. Are you saying that people that we have 25-year-old master's degree holder, we have 25-year-olds that are doing PhD, so are you saying that they are not fit to actually become leaders in their communities or in Nigeria? No.
On his part, a socio-political analyst, Adebisi Michael, said maturity is not determined by age, adding that the review of the minimum qualification becomes necessary as the country needs intellectuals in decision making.
We need intellectuals in decision making. Now, there is no way you can hard crews like people that doesn't really understand some book context, some theoretical context of politics, or have been in a gathering whereby they are given platform to display political their political abilities. You should expect less of them. Yes, they must have been in practice, maybe through political schools, struggles, following different kind of things, and gather experience. But that is not enough. We need intellectuals in politics.
It is important that an experienced candidate must be elected and the nation's electoral process must be reformed. Taiwo Olanrewaju, IATV News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria's survival rests on the active participation of its citizens in global developmental efforts, especially in science and technology. The president made this known today in Abuja when he conferred the Nigerian National Order of Merit Award for years 2020 and 2021 on 3 Nigerians who distinguished themselves in medicine and science. Buhari noted that the nation will continue to celebrate the achievements of the scholars as a shining example worthy of emulation by the youths. Buhari also admonished them to serve as beacons of hope and aspiration for the younger generations. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has called on the federal government not to remove Labour from the exclusive legislative list. In a statement today in Abuja, the president of the Congress, Ayuba Waba, said Labour issues are presently domiciled in the second schedule, legislative powers and the exclusive list. Waba noted that the Labour includes trade unions, industrial relations, conditions, safety and welfare of labour, industrial disputes and industrial arbitration. According to him, Labour should not be one of the items which should be devolved to state governments for the growth of the nation's security and industrial harmony. Waba explained that legislation on labour is driven from the International Labour Organization conventions, protocols and recommendations and other instruments domesticated through the acts of parliament. The Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT) today engaged in prayer sessions following the delay by the federal government to grant assent to the bill on the new retirement age for teachers. At the event, which held in Abuja, the union prayed for the federal and state governments to implement the 30,000 naira minimum wage and implement all the welfare packages approved for teachers across the country. It will be recalled that the federal government, during the year 2020 World Teachers Day, announced a new welfare package for teachers, some of which included the introduction of new retirement age, new salary scale, among others. They also prayed to God for the implementation of all the welfare packages approved for teachers, greater attention to the welfare of teachers, promotion for primary and secondary school teachers, among others. The Academic Staff Union of Universities says its members in universities across the country will embark on another strike soon if the federal government fails to implement the memorandum of action it signed with the union last year. The chairman of ASU in Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomosho Biodun Olaniran, said this in a statement issued after the Congress of the union. He stressed that the failure of the government to fully implement the agreements is worrisome. Olaniran affirmed that the union has resolved to embark on an indefinite strike if the federal government fails to accede to its demands within a certain period of time. While asking Nigerians to prevail on the federal government to avert the impending strike, the union said it has allowed many stakeholders to talk to the government. Aviation workers have suspended their planned industrial action billed to commence today. This followed a memorandum of settlement reached by the workers at the end of a conciliation meeting held with the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment and the Federal Ministry of Aviation. The meeting, which was presided over by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, disclosed the non-implementation of the minimum wage consequential adjustment and the aviation parastatals since 2019, and the non-approval and release of the reviewed conditions of service in the parastatals. Briefing newsmen after the meeting, Ngige said the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission has been directed to issue a service-wide circular informing all organizations in the public and private sectors that they are bound to implement the national minimum wage of 2019 and consequential adjustments. Ngige also affirmed that workers who have exited the system during the period under review will be paid their arrears. It will be recalled that the workers had issued a 7-day ultimatum of a planned industrial action effective today to the federal government over the failure to fulfill its promises. Following the federal government's introduction of a tax of 10 naira per litre on all non-alcoholic, carbonated and sweetened beverages, the retail prices of soft drinks have increased by 33.3% from 150 naira to 200 naira. Speaking on the development with IATV's Rohima Lawal, a public affairs analyst, Sheston Johnson, expressed fear that the tax will fall on consumers who have to pay more for the drink. Johnson added that the move will also result in low sales of the drinks. He added that the tax is bound to result in water crisis, especially in the north, where water scarcity is the norm. Johnson further decried that the move only deprived Nigerians from the source of energy. He, however, called on the federal government to effect policies that will reduce the hardships of the people.
This sugar tax will be passed on to the consumers. By the time people begin to reduce their consumption rates, then the company is affecting the output or the production capacity of the company. Then the company may begin to also ask some of these workers to go, and this will increase the unemployment rate. In that suffering, you are still smiling with your bottle of some of these soft drinks. You still try to mellow down, to appease or to appeal yourself. You know that when there is life, there is hope.
Away from that, the residents of Ibadan have expressed mixed reactions over the sudden closure of some filling stations in some areas in the state capital. They decried the adverse effects of fuel scarcity, even as some filling stations were seen attending to customers. Ayodele Fakeye completes the report.
Nigerians have been lamenting the sudden scarcity of the premium motor spirit known as petrol, a development which some attributed to the discovery of the adulterated fuel in circulation. It was gathered that relevant authorities reacted by deciding to stop or reduce distribution for proper investigation. However, in an ensuing development in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, there is an heightened level of anxiety as well as confusion as some residents, in an attempt to buy fuel, alleged that some stations were not dispensing fuel and their gates were shut. When Impact News crew went round some of the filling stations in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, some filling stations were under lock while some sold petrol. Reacting to the development, a motorist, Grace Olajide, while giving an insight into her experience, decried the adverse effects of fuel scarcity to commuters, which according to her is going to obstruct day-to-day activities as well as affect transport fares.
It was a surprise to me early this morning when my son called from Lagos, said he had been experiencing this fuel scarcity. Then I became surprised. Then over the radio, over the news this morning, that was when I heard it again the second time. So as I am going out now, I decided to check up on this place. This is my first place of call, and thus far I haven't been able to their gates are now closed. So I think that probably ongoing my way, maybe I'll be able to see a filling station, because my tank is almost dried now. Now there must have been a hike by all these commercial vehicles. So it means one has to add some extra money so in order to be able to board such vehicles. So those are some of the challenges. We have to add more to what you already have so that you will not be stranded on your ways.
She nevertheless called on government to ensure that petroleum products are sufficient for consumers.
Some people who are very, 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 very less privileged, not in our Nigerian situation this day, everybody is less privileged. But there are some people who are very, very less privileged. Those are some people that I pity, because many of them would have some places to go. But when they see that there is already a hike in the transport fare, definitely their movement that day will be disrupted. The advice is that there should always be plans. We have been enjoying get to the filling station, get to the scenes, but this one, it is the government that will have the blame, that we have to shift the blame to. There should always be plans, most especially for Nigerian citizens. In their own case, they will not go and buy queue for fuel. It will not affect them. But it is we, ordinary citizens, that such things always affect. So I pray that this thing will not take a longer time.
Also reacting to the development, a manager at a filling station, Kabiru Akomu, maintained that there is no fuel scarcity and he has been attending to motorists. He therefore asked consumers not to panic.
I don't think there's any scarcity yet. There's no scarcity as far as I'm concerned. What I noticed is that maybe they don't have fuel. If you say station closed, it could be that they don't have fuel. You can see us selling. Water is coming in freely. That's not changing price. The price remains the same. They should not panic. Consumers should not. They should relax.
It has become pertinent for government to ensure the availability of petroleum products across the country. Ayodele Fakeye, ITV News.
Inspector General of Police Usman Baba has again charged police officers in the country to prepare for fresh security challenges ahead of the 2023 general elections. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the conference and retreat for senior police officers in Akwa Ibom, Baba said the countdown to the general elections will present new sets of security challenges which will further task their professionalism. Baba urged police officers to always engage in the issues relating to their roles in the electioneering process. He affirmed that the force will continue to explore all available strategies in guaranteeing the security and safety of the people. The Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has affirmed that its members will enjoy a level playing field when the party holds its governorship primary election on the 19th of this month. Speaking with newsmen, the state chairman of the party, Gboyega Famadun, said the APC will continue to promote internal democracy within the party, such that everybody will be offered a level playing ground. Famadun said the party is ready for the primary election, adding that the preparation is in top gear to conduct the exercise.
It's a continuation of my consultation with the members of our party. I've been to about 9 local governments. We are now in Ayedire, and you can see this for yourself. The party is charged, members are ready. What we are doing here is consultation to inform them that the party has graciously approved that they should continue.
We are very much happy to receive Mr. Governor here today. My people, they are giving me a rising welcome because of the fact that the way he's conducting his administration, everybody is happy about it. And we are genuinely, everybody is happy about the infrastructure development. So we are pleased to welcome him here today. This
man deserves a second chance to relay a solid foundation for the economy and social and industrial development of our state.
So this is a democracy. The other time we have up to 8 candidates or even more in the primaries. But now we are having 3, and the party members are ready for it, and the direction with which the party is going is known to every party members.
Aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress, under the aegis of the Progressive Youth Movement, have withdrawn the suits they filed seeking the sack of the national chairman of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Mai Malabuni. In a press conference today, the former chairman of the committee, Mustafa Audu, said the group is ready to work with the Buni-led administration to achieve a common goal. He said the filed suit in view of an existing disagreement within the party, which has since been resolved using the party's mechanism. Also speaking, the national youth leader of the party reiterated the commitment to fight for the inclusion of youths in the National Working Committee of the party.
Youth leader over here has just mentioned there were some points that we necessarily did not agree with the leadership of the party. But in all honesty, this is the only party that listens to young people. We clamored for a convention in February, and the leadership of the party listened, and they gave us a February convention. We clamored for 26, they did the same thing. We clamored for a transmission of letter to INEC, they've done the same thing. So in all fairness, it would be very wrong of us to continue anything further, especially knowing the fact that our leaders have listened. The last point of call, which we know they're already listening to, is inclusion of young people in the upcoming convention. So we know that we are going to be carried along. We're standing here together with the leaders of our party. He represents us, all of us in the APC as young people. He's the representative of over 40 million people, and we're here to say that we're standing firmly behind him and firmly behind the leaders of the party, because for the first time a party in power has listened to young people. Just like he has mentioned, the statistics clearly indicate that young people are the majority of this party. The APC cannot succeed without young people. Therefore, it is imperative that they carry us along, and this is that process. This is why we've all come together. This is why we're coming to say that yes, our party has listened, yes, our party has reacted. Therefore, as young people, we don't have any other choice but to go out there and tell Nigerians that yes, APC is the party that listens. Yes, there have been a few mistakes in the past, but no one is perfect. We are here to work hand in hand to fix those mistakes and to usher in a new set of leadership that indicates that there are young people and older people that have the capacity to lead Nigeria.
Despite crisis in some state chapters, the interim national leadership of the All Progressives Congress has inaugurated the chairman of the 34th state chapter and the Federal Capital Territory chairman, excluding Kano and Sokoto. In a statement, the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Mai Malabuni, who was represented by the Secretary, James Akpanudo Dehe, said it has been assigned to issue the certificate of return to duly elected state chairman of the party. Also speaking, the Anambra State Chairman, Basil Ejike, expressed gratitude to the caretaker committee and the party leaders, as well as members of the party, for the confidence reposed on them.
Of your state. So it's going to be very brief. So I want to start by calling one by one each of the states. Dr. Abia State, Dr. Kingsley Ononobo.
Well, I can talk about my party, really. What I want to say is that APC remains the party to beat anytime, any day. I don't see them having any serious chances to really do anything that is extraordinary about what we're doing. Even some of the members praise us for what we're doing. It's not something that is hidden, it's something that is there for everybody to see. I mean, if you fix any of the infrastructure, people will see it. The infrastructure is not meant for APC or PDP, it's meant for the people. So these are things that are there for everybody to see. So I believe in terms of rating, I would say APC is there and is a party to beat anytime, any day. And we're ready, we're willing, and I think we've done so well in terms of rating by the people. So I don't want to say more than that.
The House of Representatives has called for the implementation of the Nigerian gas policy and reduction in the cost of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly called cooking gas. At the plenary today, the House urged the federal government to implement the policy and make immediate intervention to force down the rising cost of cooking gas in Nigeria. The House further mandated its Committee on Gas Resources to ensure compliance with the resolution and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Moving the motion, a member of the House, Rotimi Agunsoye, acted on the urgent need to implement the Nigerian gas policy. Agunsoye noted that the cooking gas is the cleanest and cheapest means for everyday cooking in households, stressing that Nigeria has the largest natural gas reserve in Africa. The lawmaker also noted that a national sensitization campaign for the adoption and expansion of the use of cooking gas has been implemented. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has again assured Nigerians that the trial of some identified terrorism financiers will soon commence. Malami, who noted that the case has been established, added that the proof of evidence has to be developed for prosecution to take place. The minister made this known against the backdrop that the federal government has failed to bring the alleged sponsors of terrorism to justice. He, however, refused to disclose the identities of the suspects. In another development, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, says the federal government will withhold assent to the electoral bill, if it is considered to have proposals based on personal interests. It will be noted that the National Assembly had transmitted the bill to the presidency for the second time. Buhari had withheld assent to the first version of the bill last year after consulting the minister and the Independent National Electoral Commission, among others. It will be recalled that the People's Democratic Party's caucus in the National Assembly had called on President Buhari to sign the re-amended 2010 Electoral Bill 2022 into law without further delay. The minority leader of the Senate, Eyinaya Abaribe, faulted the president for earlier rejecting the bill. Also, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Ndudi Elumelu, disclosed that the governors on the platform of the All Progressives Congress are lobbying the president not to sign the bill.
Go on and on, and we will not leave here. But let me thank the BOT and tell you that the two chambers, minority caucuses, are doing very well. I will bring you good greetings from them. We want to thank you and promise you that just like we have made them Just like my colleague said, we have made them, they said they want direct primaries. We say, okay, if it will mean giving Nigerians a very sound reform, electoral reform, we accept. They came back again and said, oh, we have rejected. They are the ones rejecting. They say, okay, we want indirect. We say, we agree, but give Nigerians electoral reform. They came back again and said they want consensus. We have given them consensus. Again, I'm hearing that amongst them, those APC governors and whatever, with their rule, are still plotting for president not to sign. Nigerians are tired of APC.
In the affairs of Nigeria, we know also that with the blessings of Nigerians and with Nigerian votes, having done our own part in the National Assembly, Mr. Chairman of BOT, we want to use this opportunity to ask President Muhammadu Buhari to sign the Electoral Act, which the National Assembly has bent over backwards to make sure that everything that he has complained about, we have given it to him. And so there is absolutely no reason why the Electoral Act is still with him.
The Nigeria Customs Service has approved the deployment of 37 controllers to various units, departments and commands across the country. Speaking today, the Comptroller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, charged the newly posted controllers to justify the confidence reposed in them by the service. Ali urged them to bring to bear their years of experience and training in trade facilitation and anti-smuggling activities. The Comptroller General reiterated the need for all area controllers and unit heads to take full charge of the affairs of the commands by ensuring absolute compliance with extant fiscal policies. He further urged them to leverage on efficient management of data to optimize trade facilitation and revenue collection. Ali also directed all officers to be extremely vigilant in protecting the lives and well-being of the people by ensuring the full fortification of the nation's borders against the incursion of smugglers and other cross-border criminals. He affirmed that the deployment of the controllers take immediate effect. The Ogun State Zone 1 Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has impounded not less than 101 trailers of foreign parboiled rice within a period of 13 months. Speaking with newsmen, the controller of the command, Dera Nadi, added that the trailers, which contained over 57,000 bags of rice, were intercepted in January this year. Nadi revealed that the command had also stopped the illegal importation of poultry products, used tires, second-hand clothing, and dangerous drugs, among others. The comptroller maintained that over 1,300 seizures were made within the period under review, adding that the duty paid value of all the items seized is 1.48 billion naira. While commending the men and officers of the service, Nadi said there is a remarkable increase in the number and quantities of seizures recorded last month. Nadi affirmed that the service will continue to do everything possible to rid the borders against the incursion of smugglers and other cross-border crimes. A registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, the former registrar, Dibu Ojerinde, has opted for a plea bargain with the Independent Court Practices and Other Related Offences Commission in order to get a soft landing. Ojerinde is standing trial by the ICPC over alleged 5 billion naira fraud. At the Federal High Court in Abuja, where his trial was scheduled to commence, Ojerinde pleaded with Justice Obiora Igwatu to give him 24 hours to settle himself with the ICPC through plea bargain instead of formal trial. His new lead counsel, Ibrahim Ishaku, told the court that his client prefers out-of-court settlement known as plea bargain to resolve the matter. According to him, the trial could commence if after 24 hours the matter could not be resolved. Ojerinde committed the offense during his tenure as Registrar of National Examination Council and JAMB. He, however, pleaded not guilty to all the charges and was later admitted to bail in the sum of 200 million naira. Meanwhile, Justice Iguatu has fixed February 9 for the report of the plea bargain to be presented. Body shaming is a form of expressing humiliation about the body shape of an individual. This can result in severe emotional trauma and mental imbalance. Speaking on this trend, some Nigerians have made their opinions known about the effects of body shaming. They made this known on today's edition of People's Forum with Oluwayemisi Okpeodu.
Should accept the people the way they are and stop body shaming them, because it's not actually their fault. It's the biology issue, because when a woman gives birth, it's normal for the woman's belly to become big. So the husband should accept her the way she is, or the way she turned out to be. The school should have something done on it. Those people that are body shaming the students too, maybe they should make a law concerning it.
Our body structures can change as time goes on, so we should just accept it the way we are. Within students, that they should make a law about stigmatization, because that is really bad. They should make a strict laws concerning that.
Body shaming is all about loving yourself. If you love yourself, even if anybody tries to body shame you, it's not going to, you're not going to feel it. So one thing you should have is self-love. You should have self-confidence. And also, to the people that body shame, they should also think about how the other person is going to feel before they start saying those kind of things. But first things first, you should know yourself, have self-love. So those kind of things will not enter you whenever anybody is saying things about you.
Number one, marriage should not be about your body first. It should not be about the body. As an husband that is body shaming the wife, your main reason for loving your wife should not be because of her body. So you should accept your wife, or probably the person you are dating, or probably I feel everybody, this world would be a better place if everybody actually accepts each other the way they are, not because of not because of lust, or not because of the spec of a person.
Coming up next are stories from the exciting world of sports.
In sport, the Nigeria Football Federation have announced the reconstitution of the technical crew of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, with Augustine Eguavon staying as interim technical advisor, while former World Cup star and former U20 boys head coach Emmanuel Amunike drafted in as immediate assistant to Eguavon. One of the most gifted footballers to have come out of Nigeria, Amunike scored both goals that won Nigeria the 1994 African Cup of Nations final match against Zambia in Tunis. He scored the goal that won Nigeria Africa's first Olympic football gold medal in 1996 and played in the 1996 FIFA World Cup finals, scoring 2 goals in USA 94. As coach, the electrifying winger qualified Tanzania for the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt and led the Taifa Stars in the finals. He is a member of both the FIFA and CAF technical study groups. The reconstitution comes after the Super Eagles outing at the 33rd African Cup of Nations finals in Cameroon and ahead of the potentially explosive FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 playoff run against the Black Stars of Ghana next month. Elsewhere, Bordeaux have fired coach Vladimir Petkovic after a 5-0 thrashing at Reims, which kept the 6-time French champions in relegation places. Petkovic arrived in July after leading Switzerland to the quarter-finals at the European Championship. They eliminated France in the round of 16. He has led financially troubled Bordeaux to 4 victories in 23 League 1 matches, and they sit 19th in the 20-team league, although they trail the 2 clubs above only on goal difference. The club has said assistant Antonio Manicon was also fired. Former Monaco coach Thierry Henry has been linked with the club as Petkovic struggled in recent weeks. The next coach will be the club's 6th in just over 4 years. Over now to Spain. Barcelona Chief Executive Officer Ferran Rivata has resigned with the club's sponsorship deal with Spotify, and latest in a series of contentious issues between the CEO and the president Joan Laporta. Rivata had been seen as a key member of Laporta's management team since taking up the position in July, as Barca looked to restructure their finances and deal with the club's 1.35 billion debt. The La Liga side have agreed a 3-year deal with the streaming music platform worth £280 million. Rivata had played a fundamental role in negotiations with Swedish company, but he was on unhappy with the final term of the deal, many of which had been revised at the last minute. And lastly, in sport, Egypt's forward Mohamed Salah is scheduled to return to club side Liverpool following the African Cup of Nations. Salah was on the losing side in the final tournament on Sunday when Egypt were beaten on penalties by Senegal. Salah played all 7 of his country's AFCON games, with each of their 4 knockout ties going to extra time. Liverpool play Leicester City at home on Thursday in the Premier League, and Salah could be in contention to play. And that is all we have for you from the world of sport. I am Kenny Bamidele. Good evening.
Thank you, Kenny. On the foreign scene, the first batch of the troops of the United States have arrived to Romania to bolster the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's eastern flank amid fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. In a statement today, Romania Defense Minister Vasil Danko said more than 1,000 soldiers and specialists today arrived to the nation. It will be recalled that the United States President Joe Biden had last week announced that the White House will send 1,000 soldiers to Romania and 2,000 to Poland as Russia refuses to pull back its troops at the Ukraine's borders. Also, France President Emmanuel Macron has expressed readiness to send hundreds of troops to Romania under the North Atlantic Treaty Organization command. In another development, Taiwan has commended the United States for selling up to $100 million worth of equipment and services to support its air and missile defense systems. This is coming as China ramps up incursions of warplanes into the island's air defense zone. It will be noted that Taiwan has lived under constant threat of invasion by China, which views the island as part of its territory to be seized one day. Beijing has significantly increased incursions into Taiwan's air defense identification zone in recent months, with the final quarter of 2021 seeing a massive spike. Speaking today, Taiwan's presidential spokesperson, Javier Chang, expressed gratitude to the United States for approving the arms sale, which will maintain its Patriot missile air defense system. According to him, the deal covers engineering support and maintenance of air defense systems, which will ensure readiness for air operations. Still on the foreign scene, an estimated 13 million people in Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia are facing severe hunger as the nations experience the worst drought in decades. In a statement today, the World Food Programme disclosed that 3 consecutive rainy seasons have failed as the region has recorded its driest conditions since 1981. According to the agency, the drought destroyed crops and inflicted high livestock deaths, forcing rural families who rely on herding and farming to abandon their homes. Also, water and grazing lands are in short supply, even as the nation's emergency services have forecasted a below-average rainfall in coming months. Anu Oluwapo Morinde is here with more stories.
Truckers in Ottawa have been ordered to stop honking